All right, you guys, welcome to this week's mindset training. This is a really, really important part of your weight loss program. And it didn't take me long in my coaching of people to realize that it doesn't matter what changes I was trying to make with people with their nutrition and with their exercise, as long as they had issues or emotions that were trapped that they were reliving over and over and over again that they couldn't let go. I couldn't really get people to stick with their programs and make those lasting changes that they need long term. So it became very evident that these negative emotions were causing all kinds of self-sabotage and just eating patterns and behaviors that were not positive, self-confidence issues. There were so many things that it was causing that it really made me dig deep into figuring out a way that I could help people through this part and be able to let go of some of this junk that's holding them back. So I started to do a lot of research on how our thoughts and emotions affect our health. And the first place that I started was a book called The Emotion Code. And basically the author is a holistic physician. His name is Dr. Bradley Nelson. And he talks a lot about the subconscious mind and how emotionally charged events from your past can still be haunting you and coming up over and over and over again in the form of trapped emotions that literally can cause you to relive things that are not healthy. They can cause you to not be able to make changes to your habits and your behaviors, and also literally can make your body sick. So it's very fascinating. I kind of got started there, and he really talks about how releasing those trapped emotions can result in the disappearance of physical problems, self-sabotage, unhealthy relationships, just all the way across the board. So very, very fascinating to me. And then I kind of moved on from there to some work that Dr. Candace Pert has done, and she's a neuroscientist. And she talks kind of along the same paths on how unprocessed emotions in our body become stuck, and it can affect our entire system, our health. And she talks about how organs and tissues and cells in our body have an energetic frequency, and negative emotions or negative thoughts have a different energetic frequency than the healthy cells and tissues. So because of that, they can distort the organs and tissues and cells that surround wherever in the body that they're stored. So this is kind of a cool, this is another study done by some scientists in Finland, and it shows the emotion frequency of different feelings, different thoughts, and you can kind of see where in your body they show up. But it's definitely a scientifically proven thing that different feelings cause different energy to happen in our body. So that to me was really, really cool. And for most of us, when our energetic frequency gets too low, or is in a constant state of being low, it really does cause disease in our body. So so my goal with the studies is really to help people improve their health by making their body an environment where disease cannot thrive. So our purpose here is to learn how to release those trapped emotions, and so that you can move forward with your life and really see success with your program, with your health, just in all areas of your life. So I think this is really fitting. The mind and body are connected with our thoughts, our emotions. Really, that all has a powerful, powerful influence on our health overall. And this is from the gentleman that wrote the Emotion Code book. And I've actually studied that a lot. I'm a practitioner of some different emotional release techniques. And so a lot of this is coming from my studies as well as a lot of research that has been done. So typically I find that there are 10 main stuck emotions that people have that cause them to be stuck with their weight loss efforts. The first one is anxiety. So usually when anxiety comes up as a trapped emotion, almost always there's something else underlying making that person feel anxious. And so it requires digging a little bit deeper to truly figure out what is going on with that one. That's anxiety is kind of a catch-all for a lot of people. So we have to dig deeper on that one. Number two, disgusted is an emotion that I run across a lot that people feel who are trying to lose weight. They're not happy. They have a lot of, they feel disgusted of their body, a feeling of loathing, of their self-control. It can also be of another person. And really this disgust is an emotion or a feeling that it's not super crazy strong like anger. It doesn't express itself instantly, but we tend to harbor it, and it just festers and festers in our body, and it can really, really, really do a lot of internal damage. Number three, grief-stricken. Grief is an intense emotion that a lot of people suffer as a result of loss, disaster, misfortune. It's an acute sorrow or a deep sadness. Obviously, losing someone close to you, but grief can also be things that even things that don't seem that important, like a loss of a job or a fight with a spouse or a friend that doesn't meet our expectations. We still need to grieve over some of those things. And if we just suppress that and we don't deal with it, it really can cause some problems for us. So that's important to allow yourself to feel the loss and move on. Number four, criticized. Being criticized can either be criticized by others or criticizing yourself with negative self-talk, blaming yourself. We're really good at this one. It's very easy because we're just our own worst enemy. We treat ourselves way worse than what anybody else treats us, how anybody else treats us. So number five, a feeling of unsupported. This is a big one too. Lack of support, help, or encouragement, not being provided for by another, not defended when we need help, feeling that a burden is too heavy for us to bear by ourselves. This one kind of goes back to being isolated. Feeling unsupported for us is, it makes us feel like we have nowhere to turn. And when we have nowhere to turn, we don't know what to do. It's a very helpless kind of feeling. So that one is a big one around weight loss as well. Most of us don't have the support that we need to truly be successful. Unsafe, feelings of unsafe in the world, this one really affects your overall well-being. It can be either physical or emotional, and it really can lead to that fight or flight, that stress response in our body being constantly overacting, and it creates a lot of cortisol in our body, and this really it leads to a lot of emotional and physical issues. And for sure, when we've got this going on, our weight loss is just completely comes to a halt. Number seven is overwhelmed. So this can either be happening, we can either be overpowered in our mind or our emotion, like extreme stress, feeling overpowered with somebody that's more powerful than we are, feeling excessively burdened. This is a lot of times self-inflicted. We definitely live in a world that's fast-paced, and a lot of us feel like we're not good enough, we're not fast enough, we haven't done enough. And so we just keep taking on more and more and more. And it's very, very common that people get overwhelmed and don't deal with this emotion. And we bury it down and it becomes trapped. Worthless. This is another big one. Basically, it's really around our self-esteem. Having no purpose is what a lot of people tell me that they feel like. So really what we've done is I think that we've given other people permission to define our worth, and we're so caught up in a pattern of trying to meet their expectations that we don't really take the time to, they're just perceptions, and we're afraid to let them go. Because we don't really know who we are a lot of the time. So we take our value based on what someone else thinks. And that can really be unhealthy for people. And it's very hard to meet other people's expectations, for sure. Number 9, helplessness. Helplessness is the sensation or the perception that there is nothing that we can do to fix or improve or repair a situation. This is a trigger for a lot of people. And it definitely affects your mind and your body. It's very much, it's very, very common, and it's really scary. And a lot of times when we feel like there's nothing that we can do that will make a difference, we're not worth it, we don't matter. Those are all feelings of helplessness. And this can cause a lot of issues internally as well. The last one, conflicted. Conflicted can come in a couple of different ways. The first part of that is internal conflict, and that's basically a mental and emotional struggle with yourself. Usually it comes from opposing demands or impulses that we're having that we're conflicted about. But this also expresses itself as external conflict. So it's a struggle with another person, basically. So a lot of times when we're in constant conflict with others, we really can tuck away, letting the other person win because we don't want to rock the boat. We're not speaking our truth. We just kind of back down a little bit, but then we have a lot of things in us that are unresolved with that person. And sometimes when we're dealing with conflict, the fact that we've done nothing at all really let someone else decide our fate for us. So for a lot of people, the conflict can be a hard thing. People don't deal well with conflict a lot of times. They tuck away their feelings and the fact that it's important to them, so they don't have to deal with things. So this is just a short list. These are very common things that I hear. However, having a trapped emotion, a trapped negative emotion, it can come up as a lot of different things, especially when it comes with our health or weight loss goals, abandonment, despair, anger, guilt, blaming, rejection, jealousy, lack of control. Those are also things that I see that come up frequently. So you'll start to notice as we go through this, you'll start to notice some things that maybe come up in you more often than you realize. Typically we'll have patterns, and typically they will go back a ways. So we'll get into that a little bit more. But I want to give you a few methods for releasing those stuck emotions. And the very first one, this one is kind of a general catch-all. This may not clear some really deep stuff unless you're using it really consistently. But basically it's having the intention to release the emotion. So it's saying an affirmation daily. So it might sound something like this: I intend to release this. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's hate, maybe it's despair or anger. I intend to release this anger from my body now. And you say it several times throughout the day, all day, with the intent of letting it go, especially when you're in the heat of the moment. But what I also like to do with this, I like to take this one more step. And anytime that I'm releasing an emotion from the body, I like to replace it with the opposite. I like to replace it. Maybe we're releasing anger and we're replacing it with light and love or joy or something positive. I like to throw that in there as well. I think anytime you take something out, it's important to replace it with something. So you can play with this anytime, all throughout the day while you're driving. This is just kind of a nice thing. Positive affirmations really do work. But again, this is a little bit more kind of general. We're kind of just scratching the surface a little bit with this. Number 2, sending your negative thoughts packing. So basically when we're doing this, it's just a simple technique that you can play around with. It's just a fun visualization that I think kind of engages your inner child. So what you're going to do here is create and imagine something that sends your negative feelings away. So maybe that looks like removing your negative thoughts from your mind and body and putting them in a suitcase and sending them on a trip. Or maybe it looks like putting them in a rocket ship and launching them off. So you're going to want to give them shape and texture and color and sound, smell, however you want to do it, but really engage all of your senses and have fun with it. This is kind of a fun exercise. You can even light them on fire, pour gasoline on it, whatever you want to do, make it fun and visualize those negative thoughts going away. So, and you can even do that part of the exercise for real. You can write it on paper and literally burn it if that helps you. So definitely, again, this is kind of another general one. It's not super, super deep, but for some people, if it's not like a really, really deep emotion, sometimes this is really good. Just let some of your emotions go. Now, in my practice, what I found is that most of us have layers of emotions. Typically there's more than one trapped in there, and it's, you know, you'll start to recognize it when you're playing the same things over and over and over again in your mind. And sometimes we have to clear multiple emotions to really, it's kind of like peeling an onion. It takes just digging and digging and digging to really fully be able to let go of things. So these first 2 are a little bit more general. The third one, this is going a little bit deeper. Now, this is a practice that has really changed my life. The cool thing, the Ho'oponopono basically is a Hawaiian healing prayer. And where I first learned about this practice was a book that Joe Vitale wrote, and it's called Zero Limits. And it's a really great, great book, and it's got a cool story behind it. But basically, this healing prayer really, really brings a lot of peace and allows you to forgive. It's just an amazing practice to get into. And according to the Hawaiian teachings around this, it basically says that you are responsible for everything that you experience. Everything you see, everything you think, you feel, you notice, you hear, it's a creation of your own mind. So all of your reactions, all of your interpretations are of your making. They're based typically on memories from the past. So anytime that you become upset or irritated or disgusted or distressed, what you really need to do is accept that you are reacting to the memory of that. It usually comes up as something that affects you deeper than what it should because of different memories that we have. Basically, you apologize, you ask for forgiveness, and then you release it. So the practice of this is to say 4 different phrases. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. So anytime that there's a troublesome person in your space, whether that's maybe you've gotten in a fight with your spouse, or your boss is being ornery, or somebody cuts in front of you on the freeway, instead of just going to that instant place of being mad about it, if you practice this healing prayer, you will find you will be at more peace with it. And I truly believe that our positive energy impacts other people's energy as well. So it's really a cool thing when you start to really look at it, and you'll kind of just basically, you can either say these things all together, or you can even get into more detail and say, I'm sorry that I reacted to this person negatively. I'm sorry that I've closed my heart and my mind. I'm sorry that I'm not really listening. I'm sorry that I'm not seeing the person behind the behavior. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. thank you, I love you. So it can be done. I mean, if you're in the middle of a fight with someone and you're sending them love and gratitude and repeating this phrase in your mind, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. It changes your demeanor. It changes the energy that you're sending. It really, really is a very cool practice of just forgiving, and it helps you come from a place of love and peace. It's really, really made a big difference in my life. And you can kind of spin it however you want to. If you get on the internet, you can Google this practice, and there's some wonderful videos that have some pretty music behind them, and it goes through the affirmations of saying this, and it literally, I promise, it will change how you deal with problems in general. It will allow you to cleanse and heal yourself. It'll fill you full of more positive energy, and you will definitely put off positive energy. So in the midst of a fight or some turmoil or whatever it is that you're going through, if you just sit and with the intention of sending love and peace to the other person, I think that you'll find that all of the situations in your life resolve themselves in a much more peaceful manner. So play around with this. I know it sounds crazy, but this is a really cool thing. And I would definitely recommend picking up the Zero Limits book. You can get, I think it's on Audible if you prefer to listen, but it's really goes into a lot more of the science behind it, and how a Hawaiian, I think he was a psychiatrist. Anyway, he went on to heal an entire psych ward in a prison system, just through using this and helping to clean and clear the negative thoughts of these inmates. And it's a really cool story. Anyway, so try it out. Practice forgiveness. Practice forgiving people in your life, and practice forgiving yourself. This is a really cool thing that will add a lot of positive energy to you. Okay, so now we're going to go really deep on this one. This is for the nitty-gritty stuff that most of us are carrying, all those really painful emotions that we tuck away. I think that you'll find that a lot of these things come up frequently for you. Most people see patterns of having this same feeling or this same emotion over and over and over again, and they replay it in their mind over and over and over again, and they tend to create more of that feeling in their life. So we're going to go through and we're going to figure out how to identify what it is, what to do about it, and how to release it. So this is one where you're going to want to set aside 15 or 20 minutes or so where you can really kind of be in a quiet place uninterrupted. So first of all, we're going to identify the emotion. So what I want you to do is I want you to sit for a few minutes, just close your eyes, get really calm, be at peace with yourself, focus on your breathing, whatever you need to do to really, really get in a quiet space. Okay, so now with your eyes closed, I want you to recall a circumstance in the past that upset you. Maybe it was a time you felt like you were mistreated, an argument with your spouse, something at work, whatever that was. I want you to identify it and just kind of bring it to the forefront of your mind. So for the next 30 seconds or so, I want you to think in detail about what happened. So you're going to want to try to picture what actually happened as vividly as you can, as if you were looking at it from the outside in, or maybe reporting it for a newspaper, just outside. You're going to be outside of the situation. You're the observer. You're watching the event. You're not the event, the argument, or the emotional upset. You are just witnessing it. So you want to look at it from the perspective of your silent self, from the outside in. You're carrying the effect of the meditation. So you want to stay calm. Your vantage point is not, I don't want you to get into the intensity of the emotion, but I do want you to recognize what the emotion is. Okay, now I want you to identify exactly what you are feeling. Give it a word. Describe what you are experiencing with the word. Be as precise as you can. Is it that you feel unappreciated? Do you feel insulted? Have you been treated unfairly? Give it a name. And you want to come up with the word that really epitomizes that painful experience. So focus your attention now on that word. Okay, so now we want to gradually allow our attention to move away from that word and let your attention wander into your body. So I want you to feel, I want you to become aware of the physical sensations that arise in your body as a result of the emotion that you've identified. And really the whole mind and body thing, they go hand in hand. So, so let your attention pass through your body as if you're recalling this experience. Locate the sensations that this memory brings up. So it might be pressure in your chest. It might be, you know, that your guts are in knots. It might be that you feel pressure in your throat. Find where it is in your body that you're feeling and holding this emotion. So now that you've identified where it is, what it's called, we're going to express that feeling. So I want you to put your hand on the part of your body where you sense that feeling is located. And I want you to say out loud, it hurts here. If you're aware that there's more than one location, if you're feeling more than one place, do it at every location. Say, it hurts here, it hurts here. When you experience that physical discomfort, it means that something is imbalanced in your experience, physically, mentally, or spiritually. So your body knows, it knows in every cell that it knows that there's something off. So I want you to really connect with these sensations, because this pain that you're feeling is actually leading you to some resolve. It's leading you to wholeness and being able to release it. So something else that I think is really important here is, now that you've identified it, you're feeling it in that place of your body, you're feeling it physically, I want you to really think back through your past and think about every instance where this particular emotion or feeling has come up, and go all the way back. Usually it turns up somewhere in your childhood, this feeling of being unworthy or unloved or whatever it is. Usually there's a link back pretty far. And during this part of the exercise, I think that it's really valuable for a lot of people to write down on paper that what they're experiencing, the emotion. Sometimes when you can write out that painful experience in the first person, and then write it in the second person, and then finally write it out in the third person perspective, sometimes it's just easier to express, to be able to fully release it. So if you need to write it, if that's your personality style, take a minute and do that. Okay, so we're back in the moment. We're aware of any painful feelings that we're experiencing. And just so that you know, these feelings are happening. You want to come at it as if you're remembering the pain, even though nothing is actually taking place in the material world. Likely you will feel it physically, but just know that you're only remembering, it. But you might find that your body, your body may be excreting hormones, stress hormones. You might have muscle contract. It feels very, very, you'll feel it on a physical level. So it's just an interesting process, but know that you have a choice, and how you interpret and how you respond to it. So for most of us, recognizing this, that we do have that choice on how we handle it, it's taking responsibility for those feelings. So it doesn't mean you have to feel guilty about it. It just means that you get to recognize your ability to respond to painful situations in a new way. So you're taking responsibility for your feelings, which means that you are gaining the power to make the pain go away. You're no longer placing blame or giving anyone else control. So basically, you are in control at this moment. So it should just give you a little bit of a sense of freedom, okay? So next, we're going to place our attention on the part of the body where we're physically holding the pain. And we're going to do kind of a little bit of a breathing exercise. So basically, I want you to visualize a bright light full of love, full of joy. And I want you to visualize every time you breathe in that light, that joy, happiness. And then every time you breathe out, I want you to breathe out those negative emotions. And you can see that as dark air. You can see it as a dark cloud. You can see it however you want to see it, but feel the painful sensations leaving your body with every breath. So do some deep breathing in with the love, the gratitude, the joy, out with the pain, out with the negative emotion. And do that for about 30 seconds or so until you feel the point where you have actually released the negative emotion. And then we're going to move on to the next part of sharing the outcome. So a lot of times, most times, these negative emotions that we're feeling, typically they're linked to another person or situation. So what I want you guys to do is play that situation in your head instead of the negative that you have been playing over and over and over again, whatever that looks like for you. I want you to take that exact same situation, and instead, I want you to hear that person expressing words of love and appreciation and telling you that you are enough, that you did do a great job, that you are a good person, that you're good enough. However, whatever it is that it's the opposite of whatever you've been replaying that person telling you, visualize it very vividly, the opposite. And then I want you to feel how excited you are and how proud you are that you have met this person's expectations or you've handled this differently. Just whatever feelings come up, I want you to feel that positive feeling. And you can even go as far as pretending to have a conversation of, just imagine being able to speak to that person, maybe not in real life, you can in real life, but what would you say to that person now? Like, what does that conversation look like? I want you to get really, really deep into that, but make sure it's positive and it's loving. And that's really a big part of releasing negative emotions, because again, when we're taking away an old painful pattern, we need to be able to replace it with something very positive and happy. So, play around with this. I know this gets pretty deep for a lot of people, and it's hard for me to really get into too much detail without knowing exactly what it is that you're struggling with. So this is pretty general, but you really can get deep into releasing emotions that you have been carrying, gosh, for a lot of years. And I promise your ability to change behaviors, make decisions, have better health, if you can get rid of the negative stuck emotions, I know that all of that will be much easier for you. So if you are interested, this is something, this work is something that can really create a very profound healing effect on people. If you can get there yourself through the techniques that I just taught you, by all means do it. You can always pick up the Emotion Code book and try to do some of it on yourself as well. If you prefer, if you have some deeper stuff that you want to deal with, or you want some coaching, you want some help through it, I do offer sessions for people to really help you get deeper into this. So feel free to give me a call. My individual sessions for this are normally $75 for an hour. Since you guys are going through my course, I'll take $25 off of that for you. So if this is something that you need help with, please let me know. I promise that releasing these negative emotions as baggage that you're carrying will help you in your long-term goals. So it's really, really important that you get rid of this junk. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. Please take time um, to do the clearings, practice all of this stuff, because it will really make everything else that you're doing much easier. And you will feel more at peace with yourself and deal better with other people. You'll have more tolerance and be able to come from a place of gratitude and love instead of the negative places. So play around with it. I would love for you to post some of your experiences, some things that you're working on, some results that you've seen on the Facebook group. I think that would be really, really cool for anybody that's looking to share. Please do so. It's a great place to, it's a safe place to be able to throw out what you're working on and have some support at the same time. So I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much.